sucker!
Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, man, yeah. My thing is this. Out of sight, out of mind. CM Punk has been away from the game for a minute. And I always tell the story about when I used to be a dancer back in the day, pop locking.
Rhinestone Wrangler.
Break dancing, breaking them suckers down back in the day at all the talent shows and, all the, like the after parties, whatnot. McGregor Park on Sundays, 16, 17 years old. I was bad. You know what I mean? I'm serious, man. I mean, Booker, you know what I mean? They didn't call me Booker T. They used to just call Booker. Booker? You don't want to mess with Booker. All right. And, that's the way it was. Everywhere I went, I had a reputation for being, top dog as far as dancing in the neighborhood. No joke. My wife, she don't believe none of them stories. You lied. You ain't done nothing. But I'm serious. I was bad. And then girls came in the picture. Started running around with the girls, started trying to chase and whatnot. I stopped practicing. I wasn't thinking about my dance and my dance moves, and I wasn't watching the latest shows as far as where to get the best dance tips from or anything like that. I was just like I say, just running around. 20 years old now. I'm still thinking I'm pretty good, and I see these young cats coming up, and I'm going, wow, man, these guys are so good. I'm like, oh, good God, where did he get that from? Man, so I'm like, okay. People like Booker, jump on him, man. Go ahead and take him. I'm like, nah, he don't want none of this. Trust me, dog. You don't want none of this. So I would literally talk my way out of dance contests when I was around 20. I would not put myself in position to go out there to, make myself look bad. Now, that's what I'm thinking about with someone like CM Punk, who's been away from the game for 7 years. And I'm not, look here, I'm not hating or anything like that. But my thing is this. Even as great of a physique as I have right now.
Don't put yourself over too much now.
At 56, okay, right. But my thing is this. When I got like in my 40s, mid 40s, even though I still look good, I had a phobia about taking my shirt off in the locker room with the young guys. I was like, man, these guys look great, man. I was like, God, man, this guy looks good, man. I'm like, so I had a subconscious thing that I was working with there, even though I still look good. So I was thinking, man, maybe my time has passed me by. Maybe it's time for me to, start doing something else. So that's when I say, as well as, man, am I losing a step? Man, can I get my sidekick? Man, do my scissor kick still look the same? So I start questioning myself when I got to a certain age, and I say, man, when you start questioning yourself, it's time to move to something else. So that's what I'm coming from with the CM Punk thing. Can he go out there and still do it? Yes, but have the game change tremendously in the last 7 years? Yes, I think so.
Absolutely. It absolutely has. And I think that with CM Punk, he was one of the guys who was heralded for his work rate, like was one of those indie work rate guys people would talk about. So I think it'd be harder for him to say somebody like a Hogan, right? When Hogan would come back to WWE after a long layoff, people just wanted to see one thing. They wanted to see him drop the leg. You know what I mean? Hit somebody with the boot and drop the leg. It wasn't the most physically intense thing that he had to do. I think there would be a certain pressure that CM Punk would put on himself and a certain expectation that fans would put on CM Punk to come back and do what he was doing before he left all those 7 years ago after the 2014 Royal Rumble. I mean, we're going now on 8 years, 7.5 years, right? That is a long, long layoff. But would I want to see it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see CM Punk back inside of a ring, be it in AEW or be it in WWE? And that's my question to you. What would be the better landing spot for somebody like CM Punk? A style that is a high-paced style like an AEW, or a style like WWE? What would your assessment of that be?
I think CM Punk, the best place for CM Punk is is the place that want him. The place that want him the most. I don't think it's
They
either
want him the
or.
most.
No, I'm serious. That's the way I look at that thing right there. I mean, CM Punk has been away from WWE for quite some time. He didn't leave on the greatest terms or anything like that. Will he be welcome back if he was to come back? I'm sure, yes. But is AEW a softer landing spot? Maybe something new? Maybe a fresh start? Perhaps, yeah. But I think the place that wants him the most is the place I think CM Punk where he needs to be. I don't care if it's New Japan, AEW, WWE, or I don't care what it is. Reality wrestling. You
want to get a couple tune-up matches in, brother. Before you start making those dates.
Yeah,
making the towns. Coming down here. But tell me if you think that I'm wrong with this. Do you think that Daniel Bryan, because that's the other side of the story, is Daniel Bryan no longer under contract with the WWE, no merchandise available on the site, not on any internal documents, according to sources, whoever sources are, but that's what they're saying. If Daniel Bryan goes to AEW, does that influence CM Punk in one way or another?
I don't know. Me personally, I can't say yes or no because I don't know how good of friends those guys, were. I know CM Punk, when he left the business, he cut ties pretty much with everybody,
Right.
And
they were tight at the time. I know that. And
yes,
they came up through the Indies together, Ring of Honor.
I don't know. I don't know if it would. I can tell you this: no one's decision has ever influenced me to do anything in the business.
Well, let me ask you this though.
I remember Kevin Nash and I, we left TNA at the same time. We was supposed to be coming back from Main Event Mafia, in the internet. That's what the internet was saying. And I knew I was in talks with WWE to come back. And I was like, yeah, man, I'll come back for the Rumble. And I remember Big Nash called me, my big homie. He goes, hey, Book, you going to the Rumble, man? Or you coming back to TNA? I said, man, I'm going to the Rumble. He goes, me too. We showed up the same night. So that's the only time I've ever had any influence.
Let me ask you though. But let me ask you, when you went to TNA, if Angle and Kevin Nash and those guys weren't there at the time, would you have still considered going to TNA?
Yeah. I went there. Yeah, because I didn't go to TNA for the fame or anything like that, I went to TNA just because I was sitting at home. They called me and they offered me a contract. The contract was nice, and I didn't want to be a guy that was just corroding and my skills just totally deroding at the same time. No, I wanted to get out there. I wanted to get out there and I wanted to work. I didn't, as well as it was a bunch of young guys there that I saw that really had some potential. So that's what I thought about when I went to TNA. More than anything, I thought about guys like AJ, Joe Rude, Jay Lethal. I thought about those guys, and I was like, man, this could be something really, really cool to actually work some young cats and be able to almost school them at the same time if they were willing and open to be schooled. So I just thought it was a great time, something different for me to do at that time.
Okay, I guess just for me, it's like if I'm going to a new job and say I get the same job offer from two places, but I look at one place and it's like, oh, hey, a couple of my buddies are there. They're over there. They seem to like it. You're going over there too? It might sway me more to join up with them if I'm going to an environment with people I already know, I'm comfortable with. Especially like you said, CM Punk had, not the greatest of exits originally from WWE. I think that for the most part, when it comes to business, those things can be looked over and bridges can be made where they were previously burned. But I would think if Daniel Bryan said, you know what, I'm going to AEW, I want to do something different. Daniel Bryan said in an interview during WrestleMania, he was trying to convince WWE to allow him to wrestle in multiple places. I don't think that at least from the looks of things, is probably what the route WWE wanted. So I'm just thinking, if he goes to AEW, I think that's where Punk ends up. That's just my scenario. That's my
Well, I think Punk gel with more people in AEW these days than he would in WWE. I think the roster in WWE is totally different, other than a few guys like Roman,
Seth,
Seth,
Drew. There's a few
Mysterio,
guys who were there.
and maybe but I don't know how well he got along with those guys.
Kofi, Miz,
exactly, yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know what would be a great, a better fit for him. Daniel Bryan, on the other hand, Daniel Bryan's a worker. Daniel Bryan, even with the broken neck, he was chomping at the bit to get back and get back in the ring. So he's a guy that I'm sure more than anything just wants to work, as well as I'm sure New Japan is would highly see someone like Daniel Bryan and say, man, let's get him in here right now, and let him have a run. So yeah, I mean, options are open. That's what's so beautiful right now about the business. You don't have to just work in one company and make money and make a living, especially guys like Daniel Bryan, who's already created his career. He's there. He's a made man. So it's just all about what do I want at this stage. Hey guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. So the Young Bucks, I had heard about these guys, but I didn't know them or anything like that. And they had a WWE tryout, and these two guys, they were hanging in the hallways. It seemed like they were, I don't know, they were kind of like off to themselves. I don't know. It just felt funny. And I was getting ready to do I was doing commentating back then, and I had my jacket, laid over this, piece of equipment, and I walked by, and one of the Young Bucks was leaning on my jacket, and I was like, "Hey, bro, that's my jacket right there," and he goes, "Oh, okay," I got my jacket and I walked off, and I was like, I didn't realize it, but they were there for a tryout, and I was like, man, after I realized it, I said something on one of the podcasts or our show or something. These guys didn't even shake my hand, and then next thing you know, it was a big thing going around as far as me not shaking the Young Bucks' hand. And then they started doing a thing online to where, they wouldn't shake anybody's hand, and then, they had a thing with RVD, where they wouldn't shake RVD's hand. So I was like, man, you know what I mean? These guys are taking this thing to another level. Can't wait to see them. So I wanted to fight the Young Bucks. I want to get it to them.
You want to put hands on them.
I want to put hands on them.
Put those Fifth Ward beads on them.
Yeah. And we ended up running into each other at an independent show. And I'm still a little bit hot, so we end up talking and whatnot, and we end up getting back around to what happened up in WWE as far as my jacket goes, and they go, bro, reason we didn't say anything to you, man, you're intimidating. Sucker! What's up, this Booker T, two-time Hall of Famer. I know you're checking out The Shine, checking out The Gloss. I want to thank you guys for checking out Row on YouTube. Hey, don't forget to click and subscribe to check out all the latest content right here each and every week. Now, can you dig that, sucker?